Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to Maryville Junior High School. I know this is an exciting but also can be kind of a scary time transitioning from intermediate to the junior high level. We are a great place to be. You'll be here for 2 years and then move on to Maryville High School, and I can guarantee you that time will go by quickly, very quickly. I'm Lisa McGinley. I'm the principal here at Maryville Junior High School. I'm going to take some time this evening. We've set aside time from 6 to 7:30, but in all likelihood we'll finish earlier than that time. I don't think we'll all be here till 7:30 this evening. Our agenda for tonight is we're going to start out talking about some college and career readiness. You may think, my child's in 7th grade, it's a little early for that, and actually in this day and time, it's not too early. And we're going to talk a little bit about what is to come as far as college and career readiness. I'll share with you some information that's general information about Maryville Junior High School to just kind of give you a taste of how things work and flow here. And then we will talk about that registration process and a timeline we're following. And we will have an online registration help session in our computer labs. If you would like to take part in that this evening, you could actually register your child for classes this evening, or you can preview the process sitting at a computer and ultimately register your child from classes from anywhere as long as you have internet access. You can do that, and our window is open through Sunday this coming weekend. And then finally, we'll take a little pause, and at that point, those that would like to go ahead and be dismissed to either go to our labs or from the presentation, at that point you may. But we will be continuing with a final portion of the presentation, which is the path to college and career. There are some very specific things that colleges and post-secondary, and when I use the word college, I'm talking about universities and community colleges, as well as technical centers, internship type of apprentice programs, any kind of post-secondary training. And they're looking for some very specific things and different kinds of whole picture items for students when they arrive at that junior and senior year in high school and are applying for such programs and making plans after high school. You might think, here we are, 7th grade, and it's just too soon for that. And like I said before, it's really not, because there are specific courses that some of these post-secondary training programs are going to be looking for, that moving into 8th grade and starting to explore what's out there, and then into 9th grade, which is high school and credit bearing, you need to kind of lay that groundwork of where you're going through high school to earn the credits and take specific types of courses that whatever that post-secondary training you might be interested in for your child, or that your child's interested in, knows that that path is laid out there. So at that time we would take a pause. Those that want to leave at that point can, and those that want to stay to hear the final portion of the presentation may stay here in the gym with us to do that. So I do want to start out with a little touch on that college and career readiness. In Maryville City Schools, and particularly moving into Maryville Junior High School, we truly believe that the academic intensity of the students' high school curriculum still counts more than anything else in relation to completing a bachelor's degree. And with the changes in our state regarding Tennessee Promise and students being able now to go on to college for 2 years and have that tuition and fees paid for, this even becomes more important. So as you move in and start thinking about 8th grade is the high school transition grade now in Maryville City Schools here at the junior high. Previously, it was 9th grade. It now happens in the 8th grade. So that is our transition year for helping students adjust to high school expectations and start to lay that groundwork so when they do arrive in the 9th grade, they're ready and more prepared to handle the expectation and challenge there when courses now begin to count on a transcript and those grades tend to follow them along on a GPA, with the GPA. So it's not too soon to be thinking about what you want your child to get out of high school, because after this year, there's just 1 year left, and they're there. Next year, your child will be taking the 8th grade Explore test in October. This test is very important in that it's going to give you a bigger picture about how your child is progressing towards college and career readiness. We shift here in Maryville City Schools over to what we call the EPASS system, the Educational Planning and Assessment System, where in the 8th grade students take the ACT Explore, in the 10th grade they take the ACT Plan, and then in the 11th grade all 11th graders take the actual ACT. There is a relationship between the Explore, the Plan, and the ACT. The Explore Plan in the 8th grade, the highest score is a 25. That then goes on to correlate if a student shows that necessary progress to a 32, and then the highest, of course, would be the 36 on that ACT. So kind of tracking that college and career readiness preparation. The score report that you would get next fall after taking the Explore test, students will get a snapshot of their career and college readiness academically, but they also complete career questionnaires and interest inventories, and so you get a snapshot of where their interest is, what kinds of careers they might be interested in pursuing or researching further. At the Maryville Junior High School, we continue to outperform the national average on the Explore test as well as the ACT exam by the time our students become 11th graders. So I just show you this slide to illustrate that we do outperform the national average. The students in our school district and in our school are not nationally average students. They're above average. In the 8th grade, we do students do take several assessments. In the state of Tennessee, the 8th grade is the year of tests and standardized tests. 8th grade seems to be the one that was selected for all of those exams. So you have the ACT Explore, which is required by the state of Tennessee in October. We do give semester exams at the end of the first semester. Those are worth 15% of the first semester average in preparing our students to getting ready for the high school expectation, where semester exams count 25%. So we're easing them into that. We have our quarterly benchmarking assessments that we give in reading, and we'll be starting to give those in math next year to track that progress. We are just now next week getting ready to give the TCAP writing assessment here to our 8th grade, and the following week to our 9th graders. In April is the TCAP achievement. The state of Tennessee does require that it count 15% of the second semester average. And if your 7th grader is enrolled in Algebra 1 as an 8th grader, which is actually the high school Algebra 1 class for high school credit, they will also be taking the Algebra 1 state required end of course exam in May. You have a handout that we gave you when you came in the door that's got some general information about our school. You can read that at your leisure, but it just gives you some information that you're going to want to know, things like when do we start, and what's our school day look like, and who do you contact for certain things. So use that information and feel free to reach out to us between now and, of course, the start of school next year. Here at Maryville Junior High, our mission is, and our purpose, is we're working together as a faculty and staff to build a bridge to success for every student through unified efforts. And we often lean on that foundation in our decision making and in the monitoring of the progress of our students. The 8th grade year, like I said before, is a transition year. Here at the junior high school, we're on a 5-period day. That's a little different than what you've been experiencing at the intermediate level. Our building does open at 7:30. We have breakfast beginning at 7:30. It used to be 7:50 like you see at the slide, but we've moved that back by 20 minutes. We do dismiss for class at 8:10. Our tardy bell rings at 8:20, and then we roll through our day. And our day is 74-minute class periods with 5-minute breaks. Students are assigned to one of 3 lunch periods, which are 30 minutes long, and then we complete the rest of our school day with 4th and 5th period. This would be a sample 8th grade schedule. Every student takes English, math, science, and social studies. English, math, and science are all year long, meaning they meet in that class every day. Social studies and elective courses are on an A-B rotation, which means they meet every other day. Students are required to take wellness, and they are required to take a social studies class, which are on the A-B. And then, depending on students' needs and how they are performing in school, they'll select 2 elective courses, which will be on an A-B rotation, or if a student needs additional support to be successful in their classes or to close some skill gaps, they may have an elective and an academic success class on an every other day, or the student may go to academic success every day. At Maryville Junior High, like Maryville High School, we use letter grades to report student progress. This is our grading scale. It's the same one used at Maryville High School. We have our standard scale for college prep classes. All of our classes are college prep. And then we have our honors level classes, which get a half a point, and they're on a little bit of a different scale. We do have an AP scale, as you see, but that doesn't impact 8th grade. The AP scale comes into play in the 9th grade for 9th graders that might take an AP level class. I'm often asked about academic study. Some of you may call it homework. We call it academic study. And it's hard to set a perfect formula for that and to determine the proper amount of academic study for each student. However, it is not unreasonable to expect a junior high student to routinely have academic study each night and on some weekends. When completing projects and papers and preparing for examinations, the amount of academic study may become significant for a short period of time. The time required for completion of academic study will vary with student ability, class schedule, and proper budgeting of time. This is a time in the junior high when students learn time management, organization, and budgeting that time, and not waiting until the night before to complete things, but to plan things out, to take control of that academic study so everything's not crammed for hours and hours on one evening. So, the safe thing is, and I'm just going to say it, it's safe to say students can expect to spend it up to, notice I'm saying up to, not every night, but up to 2 hours each night of the 5-day school week and on some weekends completing academic study. Students enrolled in honors and advanced placement classes may experience an increase in academic study. And due dates for academic work and deadlines for the issuance of partial credit for late work will be determined by individual teachers, departments, and instructional teams. And deadlines are important, and learning to be able to manage those is important. We do offer an academic success suite that I mentioned earlier. These are 74 minutes every other day or every day. They are required for students performing below grade level in reading or math. That's where we have our reading and math intervention, study skills, organization. It is flexible scheduling that we're able to use there, and we do progress monitor those students every 2 weeks, and reports come home every 4.5 weeks. And we do offer a full suite of special services like you're used to having available in your intermediate schools. We honor and recognize academic distinctions through principals lists that are letters that are issued at the end of each quarter as well as each semester regarding student performance. And we do have an honor society that we induct once a year. In fact, last week we inducted our 8th and 9th graders into our honor society for this year. Our code of conduct is known as our rebel rules. You can see those listed here. And we do follow the character guidelines known as guiding principles. We have several academic competitions that students participate in at Maryville Junior High School. I can tell you when your 7th grader starts school next fall as an 8th grader, there may not be a whole lot of this going on as far as the official academic competitions. They tend to come in the spring, and we're really gearing up right now at Maryville Junior High for our academic competitions that tend to come into play in March and April. We have several clubs students can participate in, and our club list is growing all the time. I have 2 groups of students right now that are putting together proposals to start new clubs here, and so our list may include 2 new clubs when we begin next year. Our registration process and timeline. This is on our website, but I'll share it with you here tonight. We mailed home last week to you some information about registration. The window for online registration is the 2nd, yesterday through this Sunday. Student registration verifications will be mailed to you on February the 27th. Those verifications are not a class schedule. They're simply a listing for you of what your child has been registered for in our student management system. So it lets you look at that list of courses so that you can see is what we think you've registered for, what's in the system, is what you truly thought you registered for, so that we can make any corrections. So the window for online elective changes, because we're going to close the registration window Sunday evening, Monday morning. It will open up again March 6th through the 10th if you change your mind. And you can go in and change your elective choice. The window for placement review. For example, if a student was placed in an honors class and you want us to consider a CP or a CP class and consider an honors level class, we will entertain and review that request for you March the 23rd through April the 10th. And then development of our master schedule is April and May. It's quite an undertaking. And once you make your selection after that window in March to change your mind and pick something else, we need you to be settled on that. Because when we build out the master schedule in the school, we are trying to accommodate what your students have requested. So in cases where we might have to hire new faculty and staff to cover those requests, we don't want to get down the road and all of a sudden school starts and everybody's changing their mind, and where we needed to have 4 sections of a course, now we only have enough students to do 2. Or we've got courses where we might have only had enough students register to have 2 sections of something, and now we're being inundated with kids wanting in the class and we're having to turn kids away. So before we build out that schedule, we need you to settle on what your elective choices are. And schedules will be mailed home prior to the first day of school next year, but I can tell you in the last 3 years, Maryville Junior High has been able to get those to you by the end of the first week of June. So that is our goal, but the ultimate goal is for you to get it before school starts in July and August. How do we place your students? We sent you that information last week. But the 7th grade teachers look at ACT projections, the state percentile. This should say the 2013-14 projections. The DEA benchmark assessment B that the intermediate schools just gave the students around the break time. Current academic performance that those teachers in the intermediate schools are seeing, the level of performance of the students. And then the teacher uses their professional judgment in making that recommendation. And again, we will be entertaining placement requests for us to look and review what those requests were. If you're wanting us to consider something different than what the teacher requested, March the 23rd through April the 10th. This is just another view of what we mailed to you last week. These are how we use our data to make those recommendations. We also mailed to you last week our required courses. Out from each one of these, like English, Math, Science, you see a listing of codes. These are in the order of our course codes. The first one listed, LAH is the honors. LA 82 would be the bigger CP, and then LA 83 or LACP, LA 84. These are all of our course codes that when you go to register, you can see those, even though you won't be able to pick those specific ones because the teacher for the student in 7th grade will have made that recommendation for you. You also have on that paper a listing of all the course codes that go with the elective courses, and this is where you can go in and you pick what electives you want for next year. We are not on a wheel like you would have in the intermediate schools where everybody does everything. It's time to start picking where your interests lie. Change of schedule. We are going to be opening that window in March to look at placement. You're going to have that second opportunity if you change your mind on electives. But ultimately, once school starts, we will adjust within the first 10 days of the fall semester for students who are misplaced in a course. And we will have schedule request forms available in our counseling and main office and online. In fact, the form is posted right now online if you need to access that. After that time, we have to have a collaborative process in which to change schedules and change placement. And that is through a meeting with the teacher and the parent and a school counselor. After the first 9 weeks, when we get on into the school year, any changes after that will have to come through administrative approval. I'm going to ask Mr. Lombardo, our technology coordinator, to please come and he's going to show you some specifics. If you're here for anything tonight, it's this part right here, because this is what you're going to need to be doing and where you're going to have to access the information to register your child or have your child register themselves with you.
Okay, if you feel like we've had a lot of information tonight, just take a deep breath and release. As the parent of an 8th grader, I know it's kind of overwhelming, all the information that's coming at you. But what's up here right now, this MJHSRebels.org, our school website, if there's any point where you have concerns or questions or you just forget something from tonight or there's just a feeling that you know that we talked about something and you want to go revisit it, everything from tonight is at this website at MJHSRebels.org. Everything including instructions on how to do the registration process that we're going to go over in just a moment, a copy of this PowerPoint presentation, a copy of the video from this evening. Everything from tonight is going to be here at MJHSRebels.org. Part of that information and really the meat of tonight's topic is how to register for classes. This should look like a paper that was mailed home last week. When we have a chance to break up and go to the computer labs in a few moments, if you want to work on the registration process, we're going to go through this page. If not, there are directions on here that you can walk through at home to be able to do registration. If you lost that paper, there's a copy of it on the school website. And for that, we're going to go out of the PowerPoint for just a second. I'm going to show you kind of how to get there on the website. When you go to the Maryville Junior High School website, it's the same way you get to the Coulter Grove website, Montgomery Ridge. It's tied into the school district's website, or you can go directly to that MJHSRebels.org. At the very top of the quick link section, the top option is 2015-16 registration. If you click there, it's going to send you to the guidance page where there'll be options for Rising 8th grade registration and Rising 9th grade registration. When you go to Rising 8th grade registration, there will be everything you could want to know about registration. All of the information that was sent home last week or 2 weeks ago in the mail, there's a copy of the parent letter, there's a copy of instructions, there's a video walking through the process. So if the paper is a little fuzzy for you and you just want to see someone do it, you can click on that link to the video and it'll walk you through that process, and you can see what each screen looks like, what all the options look like, and you can have that for a guide. There's a copy of the course catalog. The timeline that Ms. McGinley went through just a few moments ago is up there. A list of all the classes and electives and placement criteria. Information on how to change your placement or change an elective. Some of the electives have an application required, like for yearbook or office worker or library worker or technology worker. Applications for those are on this page. As you're going through, if you are looking at the electives and you have no idea what they are or what you want to do, there are some videos from our elective teachers that kind of give an overview of their class. It's set up like a playlist so that you can click and go down to Spanish 1 or French 1 or STEM, and just look at the different electives and have the teacher tell you a little bit about their course. And then finally, there's a copy of tonight's PowerPoint on there. So anything that you could want for registration or anything that you need a reminder on will live there on that website. And that, once again, is at mjhsrebels.org. So here in a few moments, when we split up, if you want to go to the lab to help register, when you go out the door, there'll be some orange cones. You'll just follow the orange cones to the technology labs. There'll be 2 different technology labs that are open, 211 and 212. There'll be teachers standing out front. The hardest part of the registration process online is that you have to have your student's username and password for PowerSchool. The first step of doing the registration is the same way that they would register, or they would check their grades online. So they're going to go to that same website that'll already be pulled up on the computer in the tech lab. They'll put in their username and password, and then we'll have teachers and guidance counselors in there to help you walk through that process. If your student's not here and you still want to do that, we have copies of their usernames and passwords in the technology labs. We can look that up for you if you need it. But if they're with you, they should be able to log on and do that on their own if they have any experience checking their grades online. Those will be following the orange cones in labs 211 and 212. Before we do that, anything else?
Just a couple of things before we take that pause I mentioned at the start. If you would like to volunteer for us in the school, we have many opportunities for you to do that. You're welcome to be here with us at Maryville Junior High School now, and definitely next year when your child joins us as an 8th grader. I'd like for you to stay connected with us. It's not too soon to do that. You can access our daily announcements online. You can put that in your favorites so you get that every day. Make sure, though, that at the intermediate schools that you've set up your PowerSchool account so that you're viewing the grades online. When we get to the junior high school, the teachers we're pretty much online. And transitioning yourself to that, and especially with our district going one-to-one with iReach next year, is just going to make that learning curve a little easier for everyone. Be sure that you've set up your Blackboard accounts at the intermediate schools, and that you're going in and you're looking at your child's courses online. Here at the junior high, our courses are becoming very, very built out. And we're doing more and more learning anytime, anywhere, real-time access, tutorials, and things of that nature that the teachers are building out in their courses. Keep your contact number and email addresses current with the intermediate schools, because through PowerSchool, we can reach in and grab those, and that's how we mailed things to you last week. So we will be doing more mailings for the remainder of this year to you, and we'll be mailing to you over the summer information that you're going to want to have. And so keeping that information current is really important. And then, of course, as Mr. Lombardo said, our website is extremely built out. There is the information you need for this process is there, and we also have a strong social media presence for Maryville Junior High. So if you'd like to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, this is how you can do that. We're pushing out information every day to our public through these venues. Now we're going to take a pause, and if you have heard all that you need to hear tonight and would like to go to our labs, you could do that now. If you're interested in hearing more about the college-bound path to college and career with our educational mentor and consultant, Charmin Lee, you're welcome to stay back for her presentation that will take approximately an additional 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. So we're letting everyone kind of make a decision on what you want to do at this point.